This past week, the internet has been going absolutely nuts over these guys who cheated in the Lake Erie Walleye Tournament.
We got weights and fish!
In an apparent cheating scandal at a major walleye fishing tournament.
At a fishing tournament in Cleveland on Friday.
It was very obvious this time that
professional fisherman was caught cheating.
While more and more details keep coming out every single day, it seems like everybody is saying the exact same thing about these guys.
In trouble with the law.
Justice is going to take its toll.
It's absolutely sickening.
I've got a little bit of a different take than everybody, and I think this goes way beyond just what we should actually do with these guys. So before you guys actually start blowing up the comments saying that I'm a complete idiot for this, just hear me out. First off, I'm not going to condone what these guys did. Without a doubt they cheated, and that was definitely wrong. But I'm going to circle back to what I think we should actually do with these guys, but first I want to tell you my take on this. I think we're putting way too much emphasis on what these guys actually did and how we're going to punish these guys, and we need to put way more emphasis on what we need to be changing in tournament fishing and even beyond tournament fishing in actually all fishing records. So here's the thing about the weights controversy. This isn't the first time this has happened. Actually, it's happened a lot of times. And I'll bet it's happened way more than we even know about. You see, going all the way back to 1949, there was this guy in northern Wisconsin named Louis Spray. In 1949, Louis Spray claimed to catch a muskie that was 63.5 inches long and 69 pounds, 11 ounces, which made it a new world record. See, the thing is, as soon as he caught this fish, there was controversy that started surrounding it. Rumors started swirling that this fish wasn't as long as he said it was, that it wasn't as big as he said it was, and that maybe he didn't even catch it at all. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, yeah, Isaac, it's a world record. Like, of course people doubt that he actually caught a fish that's this big. But here's the thing about that. Years later, a man came forward named Joey Ayupa. Joey Ayupa didn't have the best rap. Actually, checks out, this is his mugshot right here. Joey Ayupa came forwards and he was known to be friends with Louis Spray. Louis Spray was not the best dude. He claimed he met up with this reporter in this bar and he came forward and said, hey, I actually caught that fish that Louis Spray entered. I caught it, I was on the run from the law. I was also fishing in an illegal area below the winter dam. It was off limits, and so I knew I couldn't turn this fish in, so I sold it to Louis for 50 bucks. Imagine that, 50 bucks for a world record fish. Louis actually turned it in. So yeah, I mean, maybe that happened, but Joey Ayupa isn't exactly the most credible guy out there, right? Even later on, another guy named Paul Petit, who has a lot better of a track record in the north woods of Wisconsin, comes forwards. This guy was a logger his entire life and wanted to speak anonymously to a reporter. Sits down with this reporter and starts telling him the story. Even before Louis caught this world record muskie, he had told Paul and his brother that he would pay them for any big muskie that they actually caught. So they catch a really big muskie, they go give it to him. He promises to pay them. He actually never follows through on that. They're pissed off about it. He had told them that he wanted really long fish. The reason that he wanted really long fish is because he was going to grind up suckers and other fish and use a funnel to stuff it down the throat of this muskie to get it up to world record weight. Sound pretty familiar?
We got weights and fish!
That's just one example, and I bet the same thing has happened a bunch of other times with world records and with tournament fish out there. So my question is, why do we keep judging tournaments and records by weight? So the reason why we like big fish and the reason why we typically judge records and tournaments off of big fish is that bigger fish are usually older fish, which means that if they're older, there's less of them around because all of their peers have died off over the years, and they've evaded predators and they've evaded anglers for long enough to prove themselves to be smarter or to even get smarter over the years. On top of that, a bigger fish typically is just going to fight harder, which means that it's a lot harder to catch than catching a really small fish. It's a lot more of an accomplishment. So the problem though is that weight doesn't necessarily correlate perfectly to age. You could actually have a brown trout that is 21 inches one year and 5 pounds, and the next year it could be 22 inches and only 4.5 pounds. In fact, there's a group in New Zealand that actually tracks really large brown trout. They use the unique spotting pattern on each trout to look at how big these fish are over the years, how healthy they are if they're still in the rivers. What they found is that these fish actually will go through massive fluctuations in weight, up and down, from year to year and season to season. Because of that, weight doesn't really become something that we want to actually judge how old that fish is off of. So what can we use? Instead, there is a factor that actually is much more directly correlated to age, that it's way harder to fake, and that never actually goes down over the fish's life. Sound pretty sweet? That factor is length. For every single fish species out there, the longer that it lives, the bigger and bigger, the longer and longer that fish gets. Fish never get shorter, they always get longer, which is why typically weight does correlate pretty well to age, but it's not perfect. Length, though, always correlates to age. So no matter what, a fish that is longer is definitely going to be older and smarter and harder to catch than a fish that was shorter than it. Length can vary a little bit, how much they grow each year, and it can vary from body of water to body of water. But looking at the same species of fish in the same body of water, the ones that are longer are definitely going to be older than the ones that are shorter. So why don't we just use length? And so, in my opinion, instead of looking at these guys who took a flawed system and took advantage of it, like so many people have done before, I think we need to place the emphasis on the system itself and take a look at if there's a better way that we can be judging records and tournaments that is a lot more foolproof to actually being faked.